Hey, so this is Brian. I'm going to be doing a new deck profile for my Chaos Dragon deck, and this is for my friend Tracy, because I know she's been starting to look at doing Chaos Dragons, and if it wasn't for her, I would not have this 5-head dragon, which is a huge part of this deck. So, Tracy, this deck profile is for you. Alright, so for starters, I'm using 2 copies of Light Pulsar Dragon, 1 copy of Dark Flare Dragon, 3 copies of Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. That's pretty self-explanatory. 2 copies of Summoner Monk. And this is just great because it's going to feed into my Eclipse Wyverns, and it's a dark, so it's just going to feed into the Chaos thing really well. 2 copies of Divine Dragon Apocalypse. I used to run 3. I went down to 2 because I wanted to narrow it down to 40 cards. But it's only got 1,000 attack, but it's got a really nice effect, which is going to let me cycle my dragons. Plus, it's a level 4, and it's a dark, which are both going to come into play with other cards. I've got 3 of the Eclipsed Wyverns. This is a huge part of this deck in terms of speed. Everything that I used to like about the everything I used to like about Whitestone of Legend, I like about Eclipsed Wyvern even more because it gives me more options to search for them. But in addition, it's also level 4, it's a light, makes it really easy to overlay with a Summoner Monk, and then I can still get its effect when it goes to the graveyard. I'm running 2 copies of Axe Dragonite. This is mainly for the 2,000 attack, the fact that it's a dark dragon, and 4 stars. 2 copies of Mirage Dragon. Mirage Dragon's great because it's once again a 4-star, it's a light, and it's got this great effect that says that traps can't be activated during the battle phase as long as he's on the field. So since I'm gonna be working with a lot of trap negation in this deck, because it's mainly a beatdown deck. That's great. 1 copy of Dark Forest. Slide that up here for a second. 1 copy of Prime Material Dragon. 2 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon. 1 copy of Dark Storm Dragon. And the Dark Storm Dragon, the Horus 8, and the 2 Blue Eyes are all my 8 stars, which are going to feed into my trade-in draw engine. Also, the Dark Storm Dragon and the Blue Eyes White Dragons come in huge because I like to go for my Thunder End Dragon, and Dark Storm Dragon does count as a normal monster because it's a Gemini as long as I don't resummon it, which means that even if I overlay the Blue Eyes or if I overlay these guys, either way I can get to a Thunder End really easy. So that's great. As far as spells go, Allure, Dark Hole, Pot of Avarice, Heavy Storm. We got 3 copies of Trade-In in here. Trade-In is one of the first cards that gets ditched for a Summoner Monk, but Trade-In's great because of the level 8 dragons. And the fact I can search them out with Eclipse Wyvern. 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon. 1 copy of Future Fusion. Just still gotta get another one of those. 1 copy of Monster Reborn. Staple. 1 copy of Card Destruction. You gotta watch out with the card destruction though, just in case you end up playing against Dark Worlds, be careful. 1 copy of Burial from Different Dimension, and 1 copy of Different Dimension Reincarnation. And then as far as my trap lineup goes, I have my Mirror Force, my Return from the Different Dimension, and 2 copies of Royal Decree, and that's it. Okay, so that's the basic layout of the deck. The big keys for the deck obviously are the Eclipse Wyverns, which are huge in terms of doing all my searching for me. I really, really love it. I think we all love it when you can get that first turn Future Fusion. In Future Fusion, you know, it's still just like a bigger, better, painful choice for us. And so I'm naturally going to go for usually at least 2 of the Eclipse Wyverns, probably all 3 of the Eclipse Wyverns, and just ditch them right into the graveyard. And then I usually like to go for an Axe Dragonite. It's a nice dark one I can just toss out really quick. I also really like to try and get my Dark Horus or my Dark Storm Dragon into the graveyard with that first initial Future Fusion. If I can't do, the reason I kind of hesitate on saying 3 of the Eclipse Wyverns is because a lot of times I'll hold back one of the Eclipse Wyverns and instead dump a Light Pulsar Dragon. And the reason I like to dump the Light Pulsar is because the Light Pulsar has an effect that lets me discard from my hand a Light and Dark Dragon in order to special summon it back, so that's just another easy way to bring that back out. Once the Eclipse Wyverns go into the graveyard, their effects activate, which says then I have to remove some big Dark Dragons from play, or some big Light or Dark Dragons from play. Okay, that's not really a hard choice. Red Eyes Metal Darkness, as soon as I ditch that, hey, how hard is it to remove a Light monster from one of these Chaos Dragons? Not real hard. I like to get one of my Blue Eyes and throw it out of play real quick. I know it's still going to come back to my hand later, and I have a couple other little tricks to get to it if I need to. But the fact of the matter is, most of the time I don't want to draw it dead. So that'll keep my my big dragon options down. Same thing can be said with the Dark Horus if I didn't choose that to go to the graveyard. Usually I'll try and only ditch one of the Red Eyes Metal Darkness to be removed from play pile with the Eclipse Wyvern effect, because I can usually draw one of the other ones fairly quickly, but it's just a nice little fallback. The Summoner Monks are great, like I said, because you can ditch ditch your spell card. Usually I'll ditch the trading if I don't have the level 8 to get me my +2, and then I can search out a card like the Eclipse Wyvern or a Axe Dragonite or a Divine Dragon Apocalypse. Divine Dragon Apocalypse lets you discard, so then you can add another dragon back to the hand, which is another really easy way to get your Light Pulsar back if you ditched that with the Future Fusion. If you got Divine Dragon Apocalypse in hand, it can be really useful to Future Fusion one of your Red Eyes Metal Darkness into the graveyard, and then use Divine Dragon Apocalypse effect, bring the Metal Darkness back, special summon by removing the Divine Dragon, and then bringing back the monster that you discarded with Red Eyes Darkness Metal's effect, and then you got 2 big monsters in the field. So those are just a couple of the cool little tricks you can do in the new Chaos Dragons. Tracy, I hope you have a blast in kicking Chris's butt with this.